Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, my name is Kiskis, and yes, I am that girl who packed her life into 2 suitcases, left Abuja, and somehow ended up studying law in the UK. And today, we are talking about something I wish someone had told me back then, when I was drowning in Google searches at 2 a.m., completely overwhelmed and asking myself, which UK university will actually work for me? So, if you're sitting there right now scrolling through university websites that all look the same anyways, feeling like everyone is talking about Oxford, LSE, without necessarily talking about universities that are actually accessible, this video is for you. Grab your notes app because we are breaking down 5 underrated UK universities that Nigerian law graduates need to know, the real cost, the post-study opportunities, and what it's actually like being Nigerian there. Let's get into it. So I remember how liberating it was when I first got here to study and discovered that actually during lectures, students were allowed to air their opinions, students were allowed to disagree with lecturers, share their experiences, and it was deemed valid. It felt so liberating. I felt so much at ease, so much at home, and the fact that it was very welcoming. Tutors were very accommodating. They will ask you to book a slot with them if you had any issues. Like everything was just set up to make you excel. And I usually say to people, for you to fail in the UK, you must actually be working hard to fail because the system is built for you to succeed. They are set up to empower you to go out there and conquer your world. They are set up for you to become professionals when you're done, because when studying, you are not just having an education, you're not just having lectures. They incorporate all the practical aspects of it. They make you experience the different parts of your profession. They make you go into networking events to speak to people in the industry. They more like set you up for success. You get to see what other people are doing. You feel so empowered. You feel so driven. You start having ideas of career aspects that you never thought about. They empower you, and you get to understand the different areas that you can get into, and you just feel so liberated. You just feel like you're on top of the world. You can do whatever you place your mind to do. That feeling, I want you to have the same, because that's how I felt when I first got here, when I started studying. And you know what? I want you to have that feeling as well. However, here is what nobody tells you about actually studying in the UK. We all talk about going to the famous universities, or which universities to enroll, which ones to apply for. Of course, people talk about Oxford, Cambridge. Of course, I'm not saying that these schools are not bad. They are very good. They are prestigious. However, that does not necessarily mean that it's the best choice for you, because there are so many aspects to it. The first thing is tuition. Famous universities usually charge higher fees, £40,000, £50,000, or £35,000 upwards. But then the difference in teaching quality compared to the less known school, but strong, might be less known, but then there's still very strong universities out there. Difference in the teaching quality most times is usually not that significant. And then the living cost. Most of these famous universities are in London. Outside that, they are probably in the southern parts of the UK, in Oxford, in Cambridge. If they tell you the cost of living in Cambridge, you will run away. Anyway, so what I'm saying is the living cost is comparatively very high. If you want to get £1, you're converting with Naira, you need at least 1,900 to 2,000 to be able to get pounds. So imagine having to live exorbitantly in the UK when you are actually using Naira. That is a very huge financial strain on you. And because of that, most students find themselves really stressed during studies because they are taking too many jobs, because they're trying to raise money to take care of their living expenses. Next thing is the employment outcome. So what you need to understand is that most UK universities, they have their strong points. So like University of Reading is good for weather and meteorological studies. Loughborough University is good for sports. Universities have their strong points. So many mid-ranked universities have stronger ties with specific industries like tech, health, engineering, even more than the famous schools. The lesser-known universities might offer better placement rates and placement opportunities in certain careers or regions. So for instance, in the Midlands, they have like all these Midland innovation schemes. They have all those areas where their graduates are able to get empowered, and they even have like acceleration programs, innovator funding programs, where they place their students in business schools and entrepreneurial schools. They have industry links where they establish all these innovation programs to place their students. So sometimes it's really not about the famous university, is about what is the employability rate. I'm going to say much more about that when I'm listing out the underrated universities much later in this video, but I just want you to have that in mind, okay? Another thing is that employers in the UK really value work experience, not necessarily the name of school. When you're applying for a job, I do not necessarily think that employers are looking at where you study. They just want to know, do you have the degree they're looking for? Yes. Okay, what's your work experience? If you have all the degrees in the world, but you don't have the work experience, and the job is not an entry-level role, you might struggle, because no employer wants to hire somebody who graduated from a famous university without any relevant experience. Another thing is competition and pressure. Famous universities are extremely competitive, not just in getting in, but also in thriving once you're there. They attract the best students globally. I'm not saying that you're not a good student, of course, but I would let you know that it is highly competitive, and you cannot now compare because of not being able to get into a highly ranked university in the UK, you now feel bad that you're not good enough. They often require higher grades in specific subjects. So, for instance, you would see this, Oxford, Cambridge, all the maybe Russell Group universities. You see that you must either write GRE or GMAT if you're in STEM. The top ranked universities are likely not going to accept any waivers. They would want you to write that IELTS, that English test. They want you to write it. And some of them also do not accept WAEC. Their entry requirements are really high. And when you get into studies, the pressure is also a lot because you're competing with the best minds in the world. Sometimes it's not necessarily the best place for some people to learn, especially for people who prefer one-on-one mentorship, one-on-one tutoring, because these universities might not have all the hands-on experience that you want. The tutors may not be able to hold your hands. You may have to experience a lot more self-taught education than actually, because most times they give you the materials, you have to go study, you have to go explore, and then come to the class to discuss. So there's not so much of hand-holding because you are expected to be a high performer. You're expected to pick up the learning at a very quick and fast pace. And you're also surrounded by very great minds, which means sometimes if you're not careful, you could be intimidated. So, but mid-ranked universities may have more flexible entry requirements. Because I understand that, because if you notice, mid-ranked universities, even though they are still very good, sometimes they are more flexible with international student requirements. Okay, you don't have IELTS. Okay, get a letter of reference from your employer that shows that you speak English. Oh, your WAEC is more than 5 years old. Okay, they'll always find alternatives. But for the top ranked universities, because they're highly competitive, they are looking for ways to eliminate candidates. So whether you qualify or not, as long as you don't have the document they say you should produce, out. So you need to take that into account, okay? I remember when I was applying for Oxford, I applied for Oxford. I actually have a friend who studied at Oxford. She stays here with me. She's currently with me, but she studied at Oxford. I studied at Queen Mary University of London. So I remember I was applying for Oxford and they wanted us to submit a research paper. Not so in the application, you submit the university application form, you submit your personal statement, but Oxford required that we also write a research paper in a specific topic that is related in the course we wanted to study. Of course, I wrote the paper. So that is how, these highly ranked universities require all these other requirements that mid-ranked universities do not. And then like I said before, not every student thrives in this kind of competitive environment. I used to say to people, I'm not a very competitive student. I find that I don't learn at a very fast pace. I had to take my time. Like when I'm in the class, I probably don't absorb everything during that lectures, especially because everybody's talking and people are sharing their minds. Most times I'm quiet. It is after the lectures I go back, sit down and take it all in. And some people pick up learning at a slower pace than others. But when you are in that kind of place where a lot of people are fast, a lot of people are highly placed, are competitive, are super intelligent, you might feel a bit intimidated. Doesn't mean that you are not smart. It just means that is not your learning style, okay? It doesn't work for you. And they always do not necessarily know that, because usually they'll be put in groups to, discuss and come to the class to make presentations. And most times you don't even have enough time. And another thing is that most times you would also experience that most of these other people are people that already practice in the industry for if you are in postgraduate studies, and that could be a little bit intimidating, especially if you're just a newbie or a fresh graduate doing a postgraduate studies. So I wrote down on my notes saying not every student thrives there, especially if they prefer a more supportive, close-knit academic experience. Nigerian students who prefer smaller class sizes and more one-on-one academic support may find mid-tier universities more suitable. I believe that's self-explanatory. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Are you someone who can thrive in a very highly competitive environment, or do you want a slow-paced environment where you take it one step at a time? I remember when I was in Nigerian law school, it was a very competitive environment. I was in Nigerian law school, Lagos, so you know what that means. We were put on fire, and if it was not God, I don't think I would have really performed well there, because we were always asked to study in groups, do group works, explore ideas in groups. And when you go to these group meetings, a lot of people are talking over each other. Everybody wants to show they are smart, and sometimes it's not always the best. But that's how the learning environment was in Lagos. It worked for some people, it didn't work for some of us. At least I ended up adapting to it, because of course I came out with a first class. So I made it work, but that's necessarily not how it works for some other people. So now the next point is the research focus. Some of these universities focus heavily on research prestige. These top tier universities are heavily research focused. So they have a lot of research income, they have a lot of research funding, they're highly research intensive. However, some other universities are more industry experience based. If you're not going to be doing like a PhD, if you're not a research focused person, then maybe the top tier university or this very highly ranked university might not be suitable for you. You want a university that is more practical, that is more industry specific, so that you would easily transition from studies to employment to industry, instead of just being in a highly research focused environment where everything is more research based. If you want to do a PhD, if you want to be a researcher, perfect, you go there. But if you don't, if you want more practical experience, if you want more industry experience, then you might decide to choose a mid-ranked university. But graduating from top-ranked university does not automatically give you a job. There are a lot of people that are still job hunting, and you would think that maybe because they paid like 3 times what we paid, they should be able to automatically get jobs. It's not the case. The course you study actually matter, because like in the UK currently, your course, for you to be able to get a skilled worker visa, your course or your job must be an eligible skilled worker occupation. And also, if it is like a shortage occupation, an occupation that the UK government is actually looking to fill up, then you are at a more advantage than just studying, courses that it's just going to a highly ranked university without necessarily knowing if the course will get you a job when you're done. Or even if it will get you a job, are you going to be job hunting for like 1 year, maybe your entire postgraduate study visa throughout? So going to a famous university is not an automatic path to get a job. As a Nigerian student, especially now in the UK, that getting a job is a very difficult but not impossible. As a Nigerian student, your ideal university and your ideal course should be the one that balances cost, employability, community, and long-term goals, not just branding, the one that you know that best place you to get a job when you're done, to get that sponsorship visa. Jobs are there, but those jobs are not sponsorship worthy. They are not on the skilled occupation list. So that means you're not able to get sponsorship. You might get a job, but you might not get sponsorship. So after your post-study, then it means you will just have to either go home or switch industries. So those are among the few areas that I think you should consider as a Nigerian before you come to the UK to study. Now, let us get into the 5 underrated UK universities that you probably didn't know, but I'm going to tell you. So the very first university we are talking about today is University of Manchester. Why is University of Manchester good for Nigerian students? It is because the university is big and it has a diverse international community, and it even has like Nigerian specific support. So they have like the official Nigerian society, and also they have like employer links, and they have strong employability ranking. So Manchester is highly targeted by UK graduate employers and ranks strongly in employability list. So internships and grad roles are realistic outcomes if you use the career service properly. Okay, so the fact that you're not studying in London does not mean that you're not going to be in a big city. Manchester is a big city. It has lots of companies there as well. The university has country specific support. So for instance, they have like a contact person for Nigerian students, especially when you're doing applications. I know how a lot of people reach out to me. Oh, Chris, I applied to this university, they've not come back to me. Or I'm awaiting my CAS, they've not come back to me. And usually because the contact people for those universities are not, maybe they have like one contact person for the whole of Africa, and it's always a little more difficult. I find that universities that actually have representatives for Nigeria, Ghana, universities that have country-specific representatives, they would usually understand what the students from those countries are facing. For instance, Manchester that has a country rep for Nigeria, that person probably knows a lot what Nigerian applicants go through. So the person would know how to support you better during the application phase. Also, even when, for scholarships as well, and career guidance targeted at applicants from Nigeria. So when you have that contact person, this person has probably visited Nigeria. He's probably going to know the frequent problems that Nigerian students encounter and how to help you resolve it. Also, because of timelines that may not favor Nigerian students, this person would know what to tell you ahead of time. This person would already give you timelines and how to manage your expectations during application stages and up until enrollment. So this is why Manchester is one of the best. It is highly employable, and that's one of the universities that you should look at if you're looking to study in the UK. So moving on to number 2, the next university is going to be University of Birmingham. Why am I recommending University of Birmingham to Nigerian students? Let us see. Surprisingly, you would believe that according to the graduate market in 2024, Birmingham attracted the most attention from employers featured in the Times Top 100 Graduate Employers list. Did you hear that? So the list was compiled by the independent research company High Flyers, and the report was conducted in January 2024. It reveals that the 5 universities currently targeted by the largest number of UK's leading graduate employers are Birmingham, Manchester, Nottingham, Leeds, and Bristol. I'm just happy because I first of all introduced Manchester to you guys, and now reading this report, Manchester is there, Birmingham is there. So don't just take my word for it. Go and make your research and you would see. Okay, so now let's talk about the hidden advantage of studying at University of Birmingham, especially as a law student. Okay, the law school runs an extensive pro bono group and legal clinics that place students with real clients, work, and local firms. So this is great for your CV and networking with Birmingham law firms. So I remember when I was during my undergraduate studies, of course, at University of in Nigeria, I was part of the law clinic, and we usually we had like pro bono services where we went to communities to offer free legal support. This is exactly what Birmingham, University of Birmingham has. So they have this extensive pro bono group where they have legal clinics that place students with real clients, work, and local firms. Okay, so that's obviously great for your CV and also networking with Birmingham law firms. So that means what they do at the pro bono group connects them with local law firms and communities, which would obviously increase your employability if you do that while you were in school. So they have over 20 different pro bono projects run by the law school's multi-award winning pro bono group, and they are offering an impressive number and range of opportunities for both undergraduate and postgraduate law students. Okay, so yes, and also it has fast trains to London and of course international airports, and then it hosts large employers across finance, engineering, public service, makes placements, interviews, and travel home easier. So imagine you live in such a big city as Birmingham, where there are lots of employers, where maybe you're in Birmingham law school, and then they place you at the pro bono group with different law firms, and maybe you do like vacation schemes. It's just easier for you to live, study, live, and work in that kind of city. Birmingham is another large city. However, you need to be aware of the competition for the best internships. Of course, when there's such a big law school, it would also be highly competitive, and employers will also select the best students, for their internship placements and all of that. So you need to be you need to be at the top of your game. So being a top target for employers is great. But that also means heavy internal competition. You need to be proactive with your CVs, careers, events, and placements. So when you resume studies, take it personal. Let your lecturers, let your tutors know, let your career service know. I remember when I was studying, law had its career service, and they were running this mentorship program that placed students with, mentors who could tell you what to do, how to go about it. So when you resume, take advantage of career services and make sure that they revamp your CV and, be outstanding in class, so that let them know that you want this opportunity, so that when they come, you are one of the first people that they think about. If you prefer like tiny cohorts or tutorial style teaching, you may have to check the department that you're joining, because some programs may be a very huge program, but others might be a little. I remember when I was studying, I just keep saying I remember, because I was studying LLM in international arbitration, and my class was relatively smaller. So most of our tutors, lecturers knew us by name, and we also had like small group teaching even after the main group. So we had like small group teachings where we would be like less than 10 in each group. So there was a lot more hand-holding there than people who were studying like commercial law and IP, because there were more students there. So it would depend on your area of specialty when you're studying. That would determine if there's going to be a lot more hand-holding or not. So what I would say is, if you're considering it, if you're considering studying at Birmingham or Manchester, those big universities, what I would recommend, you go through the course content and try to reach out to the head of department or student representative that can give you a lot more information and answer those specific questions that you may have. Moving on to number 3. This one will shock you, because I'm sure you probably don't really hear about it. I know that this particular one, where the location where the university is, maybe their football club is a lot popular. I've been to their stadium, Leicester, but I don't know how popular University of Leicester is. But I'm going to tell you why you should pick University of Leicester as one of your options. What sets this one apart? Okay, I'm going to tell you. Leicester runs a legal advice clinic where law students give supervised advice on housing, immigration, family, employment, and more, not just simulated exercise. So this one, the legal advice clinic, Leicester students work with of course, their lecturers and other lawyers to actually provide real-time support to clients in different industries, okay? So the practical exposure, of course, is very good for your CV. It's like a CV booster. And the Legal Advice Clinic offers free legal advice to the general public. The Leicester Law School students are trained to give legal advice closely supervised by qualified solicitors. Did you hear that? Imagine you are a student and you are now trained to do the job of lawyers. And also you're being supervised by qualified solicitors. What do you think that is going to do for you? Of course, that is going to increase your employability. Some of those solicitors might put you into their law firms after studies. So they're giving advice in areas like contract law, consumer law, employment, immigration, family, housing, probate, and wills. I remember when I was researching for this video, I saw that Leicester students won the national most competition, and the university organizes other competitions a lot, like client interviewing competitions, negotiations competition. I remember when I was studying, when I was doing my master's, we did like a negotiation competition. I didn't join. I think I joined at the beginning, but I dropped out because, I dropped out later. But some of my colleagues joined the negotiation competition. They even do advocacy competition. So this is the kind of environment you want to be in as a lawyer, as a law student. And this is why this is, I'm recommending University of Leicester to you. So it's also great for advocacy training and networking with chambers and firms, because most times during these competitions, they actually bring lawyers, solicitors or arbitrators to be the judges, okay? And another thing you need to know is that Leicester is also highly affordable, so lower tuition and lower cost of living. So the student accommodation and cost of living is relatively cheaper than London. So Leicester specifically provides entry requirements for Nigerian students, which makes it easier to understand the application process. So you understand how you go to a university website and you're seeing the requirements, but you really don't know the equivalent in Nigeria. Leicester has specific requirements for Nigerian students. It's easier for you to understand what they require of you, what they need from you to be able to give you admission. Another thing you need to understand is the Legal Advice Clinic and the mooting experiences mean that graduates generally leave with demonstrable skills, not just grades. So that helps with training contracts and paralegal applications where experience matters. So usually, of course, when you're applying for like training contracts, because in the UK, if you want to work in a law firms would like to give you, usually they want to give you a training contract for like 2 years for you to come in, study in all the departments, all the specialties, and then at the end of the training contract, you pick your specialty and then you take it on from there. So when you are in a place where you're already working with solicitors to offer legal advice and you're already engaging in all these practical competitions, then it's very helpful for you, those applications, because you're going to mention in your CV that, oh, when I was in school, I did this, I did that, which means you kind of have some level of experience and you're better off than somebody who doesn't have any of those experiences, or somebody who went to a highly research-based institution where, excuse me, you want to work for us? We're not a research organization. Okay, let's move straight to university number 4. And this one might surprise you. Don't think I'm biased. I'm not biased. I only have inside information. Why? Because I've worked at University of Reading and I got to see exactly what was happening. This is a verifiable information that you can check. Whatever I say in this video is verifiable. Okay? So just go online. Don't take my word for it. Go online and do your research and you're going to see. Okay? What most people overlook about University of Reading is that people don't know that University of Reading has a lot of scholarships. A lot of scholarships that are actually beneficial to Nigerians and other Africans. So for instance, like the Great Scholarship, Reading Excellence Scholarships, Built Environment Scholarship. So Reading is very popular for their like expert universities for anything geography, weather, meteorology, and environmental sustainability. That is their forte. They are very good in those. They have a lot of research funding in those. So if you like study something like energy law, I have not really gone to see like the specialties they have offered in law, but I know that they are very good with anything sustainability, energy, gas, all of that. These scholarships are like internal university scholarships, not open to a lot of every other person. So this is a university that you should check out. I remember one of the scholarships I applied for was like Phillips Scholarship. See, they have a whole lot. They have a dedicated web page that provides scholarship opportunities for undergraduate and postgraduate students. So check University of Reading out. It is very close to London. If you want to live in London but not live in London, if you want to enjoy the London experience but not be subjected to the London cost, University of Reading is that place. You know why? Because it is 25 minutes train to London. Even by 11:30 p.m., you will still find trains from London to Reading. And then the Times UK has identified Reading as one of the best UK places to live in 2025. No wonder. Reading was becoming very crowded. Because people live in Reading and work in London, obviously because London is very expensive, so most people live in Reading and commute to London. So now Times UK has identified Reading as one of the best places to live in 2025. That's amazing. So Reading, which is in Berkshire, hosts major headquarters and big employers, tech, finance, consumer firms, and they're useful for part-time work for like students, internships, and graduate hires. I remember like a lot of companies, energy companies are in Reading. I can't remember their names, but I used to see them a lot back when I was living there. So say you want to study at Reading, it's easy for you to get a part-time job or placement or internship. And it is close enough to London for you to visit London as often as you want to check it out and say, is this somewhere I really want to be? The last but not the least is the school after my heart. Queen Mary University of London. A round of applause to my alma mater, ladies and gentlemen. Even now, when I get any contracts I have a contract from University of Reading, I prioritize it. Not prioritize because I am biased, but it's just dear to my heart. And because every time Queen Mary University comes up, my colleagues know that Kuseme is going to just be mushy about it. Whenever something is from Queen Mary University, they'll probably say, Kuseme, would you like to take it? I'm like, that's right. Yes, please. Anyways, I started at Queen Mary University of London, QMUL. I'm going to be saying QMUL. And I placed it at number 5, not because it is the least, because I just didn't want you guys to think I'm biased. Anyways, let me tell you guys why you should consider Queen Mary University of London. So I put Queen Mary at the end because it's the best all-in-London package for many Nigerian law applicants. It is a Russell Group school and the research credentials plus the London professional footprint. So the law faculty in Queen Mary University is at Lincoln's Inn Field. Do you guys know where Lincoln's Inn Field is? It is where the courts are. It is where most law firms are. And it is in central London, obviously. So you are at the heart of town, like at the center of London. Usually, I remember when I was studying there, after school, we walked to Covent Garden. During Christmas, Covent Garden has the best decorations, Christmas decorations, Christmas markets. Our London days. Anyways, so that means you are in the center of law practice. So an active legal advice center. So they have an active legal advice center and they have a lot of employer partnerships. Because I studied international arbitration and we used to have a lot of career opportunities in international arbitration. They would invite law firms to come. One of the most popular law firms was like Freshfields. They are very strong international arbitration law firm. So they have a very strong partnership with employers. So let me follow my notes because this time around I'm getting overly excited and I might be skipping things. QMUL Center for Commercial Law Studies is based in Lincoln's Inn Field. It's Lincoln's Inn Field. So it's literally in the legal quarter, within walking distance to courts, inns of court, and many city firms. That location brings employers, events, guests, judges, and networking into easy reach. Yeah. So QMUL runs targeted law career fairs for major firms to attend, and it has partnerships with like Freshfield. I remember I mentioned Freshfield before. Field Fisher career focused partnerships, internships with law firms like Paul Hastings, and I remember they have this mentorship program that the mentorship program pairs you with an alumni to mentor you. So I remember I was paired with a QC. A QC is like it's a member of the Queen's Bench. Is more like a senior advocate of Nigeria, okay? And it's for barristers. So they paired me and a few of my colleagues with him, and he will have like online meetings with us. And one of those days, we went to meet him in his law firm, and he took us to like one of the courts. It was nice. So yes, it's that practical, it's that hands-on. They have that mentorship program, and they of course partner with other law firms like Freshfields, Reed Smith, Ropes and Gray, Latham and Watkins, listed at several events. So go to their website and just take a look and see if you fancy any of the courses there that you can take. Okay. So what else is in Queen Mary University of London? I remember some of my colleagues because guys, remember I studied in the UK with a Chevening scholarship. So the scholarship mandated that I had to go back to Nigeria after my studies. However, I remember a lot of my colleagues who were not on scholarship were able to convert their vacation schemes into training contracts. And another thing is that Queen Mary University of London has become the first London-based Russell Group university to offer SQE preparation as part of its Masters of Laws LLM programs. The new program is launched in partnership with Barbary. So Barbary is a company that supports people to write their SQE exams. The program is done in partnership with Barbary, and it enables Queen Mary students to combine their SQE preparation with a master's degree. Okay, so SQE is the exams that you take just like Nigerian law school, but in Nigerian law school you qualify to become a barrister and solicitor. In the UK, you qualify to become either a barrister or a solicitor. So SQE is solicitors qualifying examinations. So what they're saying is Queen Mary University of London is now offering a master's program that you can combine with your SQE. I tell you the fact, if this program was available in my time, I would have done it. So take it with both hands. Take it with both hands, because now I'm still struggling. Should I write SQE? Should I not? But if I had had the opportunity to use one stone to kill two birds, I wouldn't be here. I would not even be talking to you people, because right now I would have been in one of those top law firms. Anyways, so aspiring lawyers will study in person at Queen Mary for their LLM and study online with Barbary for their SQE prep. So take it or leave it. But this is a choice you should, investigate to know if you should take it. So of course, because it's in London, there's higher cost of living. However, it has lots of scholarship opportunities, so you can choose to apply for one of their opportunities, or you can get like scholarships. Most times, if you don't get a fully funded scholarship, you could get like part funding. Queen Mary University is in London is expensive. It's a Russell Group school, is expensive. However, you can offset this by just targeting fully funded scholarships or part funded scholarships, so that they can help you offset those bills. So explore all of that and then apply for those internships, education schemes, internship, mentorship opportunities that are available for students, okay? And in the graduate market report in 2024, Queen Mary has been among the top 20 universities for top employers in the report for the last 4 years. In the last consecutive 4 years, Queen Mary University has been in the top 20 universities for top employers, okay? It's a Russell Group school, it's highly competitive, and of course, it's going to be highly competitive for both getting into as a student and also getting all those opportunities, placements, training contract, vacation scheme opportunities. So you have to be very proactive. They have like career service in law. I remember they helped me like revamp my CV and cover letter, and they also prepared me for a couple of interviews. So take advantage of those and let's see how it goes. I wish you guys the very best. You need to be proactive. The fact that I've given you these universities, these 5 universities, I've given you what you can benefit from them, does not mean that these people you would get it on a platter. You have to be proactive. You have to know what you want. You have to go for it, and you have to let your tutors and your support staff know that this is what you want, so that all hands will be on deck to support you. You have 5 solid options to choose from. But let me give you some practical advice, okay? You need to know how to research beyond rankings. It is not for you to choose a university to study. Leave the rankings outside it. Find the rankings are good, but it's not the be all end all, okay? I've given you reasons why you shouldn't necessarily consider rankings. But what you should do is choose when you choose a course that you want to study, and you go to the university website, read the modules. Read the module is like what is actually in the course. So for instance, you go to Queen Mary University and you see LLM in oil and gas. Read what are the different subject areas that you're going to study in LLM oil and gas to see if it aligns with what you want, or LLM in AI and law. Check the course content so that you will know if these aligns, because most courses might sound the same, but actually they will not going to teach the same things. So that will help you really understand if it's going to favor you, okay? And then choose what aligns with Nigeria's legal market needs, especially if you want to go back home. So it helps you if you want to return to work in Nigeria. So if you want to just come and study and then go back to Nigeria to practice, you need to select courses that will be applicable to your practice back at home, okay? And then for money saving hacks, I would say apply early for part-time work on campus. Everybody says, oh, don't worry, when I come to the UK, I will work 20 hours as a student. What they don't tell you is that it's not even easy to get the job as a student. When I was studying, I worked with my university. I had like 3 different roles. I had like student ambassador role, I had like a global alumni volunteer officer role, and then I had like a student support role after. So what you need to do is once you resume your studies, you need to start applying for the jobs. I've done a video on this channel that talks about how to get jobs as an international student in the UK. All the websites that you need to go to apply for jobs. So you need to do that, and then you need to choose accommodations outside central London to save. So say you are going to study in London, you don't have to live in central London. You can live in the outskirts and take the bus or train inside. Do your cost analysis, cost benefit analysis. Is it better for me to live in central London and just walk to my school, or is it better for me to live in the outskirts and pay for transportation? So how much would it cost you to pay for transportation, and how much will you be saving? So do your cost benefit analysis and decide the best option for you, and apply early to these schools to take advantage of early bird offers via university website. So usually for you to apply to study in the UK, you can, as a master's student, you can decide to apply directly from the university website. But if you want to study undergraduate degree, you can decide to study, you need to apply through UCAS. So if you want to study postgraduate degree, you have to apply through university websites. Or if you want to study undergraduate degree, you need to apply through UCAS website. I would recommend that you should apply on time, because usually they might give you early bird discount. They might give you like 3,000, 4,000 scholarships off, but it's usually on a first come first serve basis. Okay. So now that you have heard all of this, I know that this decision is massive, because I know I have experienced it. I was once there. But you're not just choosing a university, you're choosing the place where you become who you're meant to be. So I have a video on this channel that talks about if studying a master's degree in the UK is still worth it. In that video, I analyzed the visa situation, the employment situation in the UK. So I would recommend you watch that video to really have an insight into if it is still worth it to come to the UK to study a master's degree. Okay, if you've made up your mind to study in the UK, notwithstanding the challenges, notwithstanding the application frustrations, just keep it up, do your part, and you'll eventually be fine. I remember I was so worried when I was trying to find universities. I was like, which one? Another thing is, I first applied to 3 different universities, and Queen Mary University was not there. It was much later that I had to hurry up to apply to Queen Mary University of London, because I now decided, oh, this is the course I want to study, and the best university to study that course is Queen Mary University of London. So just make sure that you take note of the deadlines, the timelines, apply on time, and do not just apply to 1 or 2 universities. Apply to several universities so that you have an option to at least be offered. If one university rejects your application, another university will take your application. So you increase your chances of being offered admission and also scholarships. Okay. If you have any questions or need counseling support, DM me, send me a DM or drop a question in the comment section, and I'll be very happy to respond. Okay. You know that I always respond to all my questions. So if anything is holding you back from applying, is it money? Is it visa uncertainty? Is it fear of being far from home? Just drop it in the comment section or send me a DM. I'll be very happy to hold your hands. Let's talk about it. I will read every single comment, and honestly, your question might become my next video. So go ahead and pop your question in the comment section, okay? And if this video helped you, even just a little bit, send it to the friends who have been stressing about making their UK university applications, okay? They'll thank you later for it. I'll see you in my next one. I'll also link relevant videos in the description box so that you can watch. If you need to book a session with me, the link is in the description box as well. I'll catch you guys in my next video. Thank you for watching. Bye. Like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget. Bye, guys. I'll catch you in the next one.